Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the Introvert Dating Success Show, courtesy of introvertdatingsuccess.com. I'm your host, Coach Harry Wilmington. This is the show, and that is the website where you can go to learn how to attract women as your authentic introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. And on today's show, I wanted to talk about a situation that recently happened in the music world that, based on how it happened, what was discussed, and then what ended up not happening, it really correlates well to a topic I want to really touch on, which is women trying to use their sexuality to get stuff from you. And I think it's important because as men, we are easily swayed when we see a hot woman and they agree to go out with us. And over time, they may start to, we'll say, try to use their feminine wiles as a means of being able to get you to do stuff. And this, like I said, this recently happened in the music world, and I've been talking to all my friends about it, and I needed to get it out and use this as a means to help you guys better figure out what to do when these kind of situations arise. So we'll get into that. For more of these shows, as always, go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. You can also go to YouTube and iTunes. If you want to hear these shows a week before anybody else, you can support me on Patreon by going to patreon.com/introvertdatingsuccess. And when you do that, you'll have access to these shows before anybody else. If you have any coaching that you'd want one-on-one with me yourself, then you can go to the website and click on the coaching tab. If you want to support the show in other ways, I do have a tip jar tab at the website as well. And if you have anything you'd like answered on this particular show, you can write to me by going to the website and clicking on the contact tab. Oh, and be sure to go there for I have previews of my eBooks as well as a free video coaching lesson on the kinds of messages to send to women that you're hitting up online. So let's talk about what I'm talking about today, which is women, sexuality, etc. So for those of you that are in the know about current music, there are two female artists out that are relatively popular right now. You have one named Doja Cat, who's a rapper/singer, and you have a woman named Megan Thee Stallion, who is a rapper. And they recently had two songs come out. Doja Cat's is called Say So, and Megan Thee Stallion's is called Savage. Now, both of these songs were already rising high on the charts, and they both recently got remixes from some high-powered guests. So Doja Cat's Say So song had Nicki Minaj feature on the remix, and Megan Thee Stallion's Savage had the queen bee herself, Beyonce, on her remix. And so when this happened, one of the songs was at number 4, one of the songs was at number 6 on the Billboard charts. But everybody knew one of these two songs were going to hit number 1 on the next week. And so both artists were doing what they could to promote the song to make sure that it got to number 1. So Doja Cat put out the remix, but then also put out a original version of the remix to try to get extra streams, because it's all based on stream counts and videos and occasional buys and stuff like that. And Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce said, well, we're going to donate any money we get from this song to various charities to help with the pandemic that's going on right now. And so that's all pretty well and good. But then, I think like the Tuesday, because they announced who wins this stuff on like the next Monday, but on the previous Tuesday, Doja Cat goes on her Instagram, and she's, by the way, both these women are very, very attractive. They're built, they're fit, they got curves for days, and in Doja Cat's case, in some of her videos, she wears like a sheer top, so you can kind of see through a little bit. But Doja Cat comes out and says, okay, so if you guys make my song number 1, I'm going to show my top region and expose it for the world to see. Okay? So flash forward to next Monday, and Megan Thee Stallion comes in at number 2, and Doja Cat's song comes in at number 1. So let's stop there. Now, you could obviously understand that because these songs are already popular, this could have been a number 1 song on its own. But you know, Megan had Beyonce, so Beyonce's the hitter too, also, right? But so you gotta think, okay, she's already got fans that are gonna stream this, but there's probably a level of her fans that, you know, maybe they're just kind of casual, or there are some guys out there, and some women, but a lot of guys that like have heard of her, kind of know her song, but are like, you know, she's cute, but I don't wanna, you know, I'm not sure I'm gonna play the song. And then they hear the thing she throws out there. Hey, I'll show my boobs if you guys get me to number 1. And I have to believe that there are probably some people that jumped on that because people want to see celebrities stuff exposed, and so if that was the negotiation, that's what you threw out there. It's like, oh, I'll play a few extra times to be able to make that happen. So She gets to number 1, and then she's like, oh, on Twitter, congratulations. And then a few days pass, and like she hasn't shown her boobs yet. So she was doing an Instagram live, and one of the people in her live asked her straight up, hey, so when are we going to be able to see your top? Because that was what you said was going to happen if you got to number 1. And this woman straight up said, well, I mean, if you guys thought I was going to do that, then that's on you, but I'm not really going to do that. Like, are you kidding? Like, I wouldn't show my boobs like that. And right there, I was a little pissed off. And I was talking to a friend of mine that's a woman, and she was like, well, you're just mad you didn't get to see her boobs. And I said, no, it's not that I'm mad about the boobs, because I mean, they'd be nice to see, but really she could have thrown anything else out there that she could actually want to do and be fine. But I told her, in the world of guy, our word is our bond, right? So for example, if I come to you and say, hey, if you help me move from apartment A to apartment B, I can't pay you anything, but I'll order you a pizza. And then you're like, okay, great, I love pizza, I'll sign up for that. So you help move all my stuff into my next apartment, and we're all done and stuff like that. And I say, oh man, thanks for getting me into my apartment, I really appreciate it. Well, I gotta go. And you stare at me and say, wait, what about the pizza? And my response to you is, oh, I mean, you should have just done it out the good of your heart, but like, I'm not gonna get you a pizza. That is now a fight. That is now a lost friendship because I didn't stick to my word. And that's a very serious thing in guy world. So as I was explaining to this woman, I said, so it wasn't even about her not being able to show her boobs. Now, it was the fact that she promised the thing that she said she was going to do. There are probably some guys out there that were willing to help her get to number 1. And by the way, those streams and those buys equal money for her. So they're essentially throwing money at her to say, we're going to help you out since you promised this thing. And then she didn't stick to it. And I'd say, honestly, this is a shock. But if you're a guy, this is not a shock. There are women out there that will use their bodies and their sexuality, or just the fact that they're pretty, as a means to get stuff. And this can be a really hard thing, especially for introverts, because it can be hard to give up that kind of woman, only because usually in the beginning, it's not so forthcoming. You take them out to a couple of dinners, you take them to maybe a movie, you go take them on walks and picnics, stuff like that. And in the process of that, you start to bond with the person, you start to get to know them, but also you're starting to open up more to them as well. And as an introvert, once you start opening up to somebody, which is very, very hard to do. So when you do it, it's like, you don't want to let that go and have to try to open up to a whole new person now. Like that's a lot of work in our head. So ideally, we're trying to pick people that we feel we can share stuff with and get to know them, and they get to know us, and it's going to work out. So they'll start off that way, but then over time it'll be like, hey, so, I want you to take out the trash. And you're like, oh, babe, I don't feel like doing it right now. And then they'll respond like, well, if you take out the trash, then you might get some later. Or, well, I was going to, go down on you later, but then you won't do this thing for me. So, you won't buy me this purse or this dress. So I don't know if I can do things for you later on. And they sneak it in so stealthily up to the point where it's like, if you're not careful, then everything you do is going to be based upon whether or not you can get some. And that is not a position that you want to be in, because as the person that's supposed to be the leader of this relationship, if you're allowing her sexuality or her prettiness to lead and determine your actions, then it can only go downhill. You can lose friends, you can lose job opportunities, you can lose a whole bunch of stuff simply because you're allowing this woman's physicality to drive what it is you do. But women will do this because most guys will let them get away with it. Like in this case, like I said, she fooled the whole country. Hey, I'll show my stuff. Okay, well, I'm not going to show it now. So she took that back. And women will do that. Women will be like, I remember one time I was dating this girl, and she came over because we were going to go out on a date, but we had like an hour before the date started. So we came to my place, and I wanted to do some physical stuff. And she was like, well, no, let's go out to eat and get dinner first, and then we can, we'll have plenty of time to do that later. And I was like, all right. So I held back, went out, had a good date and dinner. We get back. She's like, oh, I'm so tired from the meal. Oh my God, I'm just going to go to sleep. And I'm standing there like, well, what about what you said earlier, like us doing stuff? And she was like, well, I don't feel like it now. So, and the hard part is, as guys, we know we cannot force that stuff upon them, because then that's like, that's when laws get involved, because you're overextending yourself at the wrong time when she doesn't want it. You know what that is. I'm not going to say it because for YouTube purposes, some words you can't say, but you know what that is. Like, that's not good at all. So you're sitting there like, I can't force myself on her, but she also broke a promise. And like I said, if this was another guy, I'd beat him up and probably kick her out of my house, but it's a woman. I can't do that. What am I going to do? So these are one of those things that very, very early on, when you first start dealing with a woman, she's going to test you. She's going to come to you one day and say, hey, babe, we should do X, Y, and Z. And you're not going to want to, and say you're in a mood like you don't want to do some stuff. Like she might say, hey, babe, let's watch this movie together. And you're like, I got some stuff to do. I don't want to watch the movie. And she'd be like, well, okay, well, if you don't do that, then, we're not going to do X, Y, and Z. And this is where the test starts. And if you're not quick to shut that down, then she knows that she now has a tactic she can use to get what she wants, even if she doesn't plan on following through on her end with whatever her thing is, whatever she's going to promise. So when women do that to me, I shut them down and say, hey, it is, if we're not going to do it later, it is what it is. Or if they start saying, well, if you do this, I'll do this thing, I say, I'm not driven by sex. Like either you want to do it or you don't, or whatever, but you're not going to use that as a tactic to get me because I just don't care. If you're going to be flimsy and flaky with your physicalities, we can break up and I can find somebody else. It is what it is. Or I can be alone. I'm an introvert. I'm fine being alone. So it's really more, how do you want to handle this? But I'm not going to let you do this thing. And you don't say it that harshly, but you let them know that this is not a tolerable thing, because there's going to be times when she wants some and you're not going to want to do some stuff, but you're going to be thinking back to like, oh wait, there were those times where she did stuff I didn't want to, so okay, it's a trade-off, because just, the sexual nature of things is that both people are always going to be on or ready to do stuff, but ideally they will be, but they're also not using that as a means to try to manipulate their partner into doing things that they don't want them to do. And I was just so mad at this thing this week, because I'm just like I said, you could have said anything else other than I'll show my boobs to get to number one. Like Megan Thee Stallion didn't do that. Beyonce didn't do that. Maybe that's why they got to number two, but that just wasn't a thing that she had to do. She already had a great song. Nicki's verse on there is okay, I guess, but like the song, it just knocks. So, but just to add that in there and then to take it away, be aware that there are women out there that will legitimately do this. And you got to make sure that either that's not happening, that you're putting a stop to it, or that you're not dating women like that. Because in terms of a long-term relationship, you're going to be very, very unhappy when everything you try to do or things you don't want to do are being manipulated by whether or not she's going to do something physical for you or not. Like that's just a place you shouldn't be at, okay? So try to have those conversations early on and put a stop to those things early on, because if it's happening, anything that's happening during the dating phase is only going to get magnified later. So if you're not putting a stop to these small fires in the early part of your dating relationship and they become acceptable behavior, then they're going to be a lot harder to put out later down the line when you're really pissed off at it. So try to fix it now when you can be lighthearted about it and be like, oh, hey, babe, that's not going to work on me. Come on. Don't do that. What are you doing? Like, you can do that now versus later on. Well, you've been doing this for 3 years and I'm tired of it, blah, blah, blah. And then you look whiny and desperate. And at that point, she's like, well, geez, I got to leave this guy. What the heck's going on? So again, understand, women will test you. This is part of the nature of a relationship, is that women have to test you on things because they can't outright ask you, hey, if I use my sexuality to try to get something, will you say yes or no to that? Like, they can't do that because we'd lie and say, yes, we can. But you prove it by way of actions when she does it, and you respond in a way that lets her know, oh, he's not going to let that fly. All right, so let me not do that anymore. So hopefully that helps you guys out. For more of these podcasts, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com. Check us out on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review at iTunes. And hey, if you wanted to hear a show like this a week before I drop it anywhere else, then become a patron and show your support at patreon.com/introvertdatingsuccess. You can also support the show by going to the tip jar tab at the website. If you have any questions you'd like answered on the show, click on the comments tab and leave a message for me, or contact tab and leave a message for me there. If you want any one-on-one coaching, you want to set that up, you can go to the website and click on the coaching tab. And of course, go to the website for some free training videos as well as previews of my eBooks, which are all available to purchase at the website. Thanks for watching. I'm Harry Wilmington, and I will catch you all on the next show. I'm out. Peace.